this is RiverDave from RiverDavesPlace.com. We're here at the Mercury trailer with Fred Kiekhaefer. Fred, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your newer products, in particular the 565?
Happy to. This is our new 565. It's essentially an upgrade of the 525 to bring digital and throttle and shift to this package, which is kind of targeted at the entry-level performance mode. Hard to think of something with this kind of power as entry-level, but you start someplace when you graduate into the big boys' toys. So we've taken our 525, stroked it out to 8.7 liters. We've added digital throttle bodies and an extra computer. So it shares the same computer that the quad cam 4-valve platform of the 1350 and 1100, but we put two of them. One runs the shifting and the other manages the rest of the engine. So the shifting is a electronic over mechanical. It's still a Bravo drive. I like to say it's like Johnny Tomlinson shifting your boat perfectly every time, because it's what it does is it just very crisply and very appropriately makes that shift transition. So it drives and feels like a digital throttle and shift should. Gives you very, very good manners around the dock, idles beautifully, self-tuning just like the 1100 and the 1350 engines are. So it brings a level of maturity and sensitivity to the performance marketplace at the entry side.
I had the opportunity to take a 24 Nordic. It's one of the brand new ones, the red one down here in the street fair. We took that out the other day with a 565, and second time in the water with zero dial-in, 98 miles an hour. That is absolutely amazing. But what got me the most about this motor was the torque curve. I mean, it literally felt like a blower motor. So you guys, obviously DFI has a lot to do with that, but are you guys running a more top-end cam on this, or is it a low grunt cam? Because it felt real low-end grunty to me. It just really pulled like a blower motor.
When you think about the displacement, the grunt is really coming from the extra displacement, as it's still a naturally aspirated engine. It still has a relatively mild cam compared to some really exotic stuff. So the displacement is what gives you that bottom end. It's got with the longer stroke, it just has a beefier torque curve. So it's much broader than the 525. And of course, it's got an additional bunch of horsepower in there too, so that all helps.
Now, if we can take a minute here and talk about the 1350. Everybody's focused on the turbos. It's obviously, Merc kind of pioneered that for the marine industry on the gas side of things. But what got me the most was the fact that you guys actually tooled up and quad cammed it. Overhead cams, get rid of the push rods, all new technology. That must have been a huge undertaking. What were some of the problems you guys had to overcome in the development of that motor?
Well, anytime you start with a complete platform, you've got the opportunity first to eliminate the shortcomings of base engines that were designed for production in the 1950s, which is where the GM big blocks, which have been the base engines for everything in the entire performance industry. So when we start over, we look at it and say, okay, the cars are going to get smaller, therefore the engines are going to get smaller because of the CAFE requirements in the automotive world. When we look at that, we said, in a boating world, you're still going to push a big condo around, and you need the displacement. So we said, let's take what we've learned in automotive engineering and apply it to the marine world, but on a scale that pushes the larger boats. So the shortcoming of the classic big block, including our old 1075 and 1200s, was that you reach a point where the valve train just can't keep up with the airflow requirements to have all of those explosions go off and make that power. So we started looking at where are the shortcomings. Well, the push rods, the 2-valve head, and a lot of other constraints like oil passages, water cooling passages, the narrowness of the heat bands between the cylinders. So let's design all that stuff out of there. So when you start right from the scratch with a design concept, you can look at doing the quad cam 4 valves to get the better breathing. Without the better breathing, you can throw as much turbo as you want at it. You're still going to have an engine that won't live. So the challenge for us.
I have one quick question for you. Obviously, we're very excited about the quad cams. Are you going to be bringing overhead overhead cam technology to the smaller lines?
Well, it's always a trade-off of technology and cost. And when you're looking at an engine that's a base on an automotive GM power plant, there's really no reason to take it down into what we would consider the lower power levels, because it's hard to argue with the economy of a 2-valve pushrod engine, provided you have the life. And as long as you get the breathing, and we found that threshold is a little bit north of 700, 800 horsepower is when you start to have to really work the engines hard to be able to do that power delivery with reliability. So at the bottom end, we could bring that technology down there. We'd have a beautiful piece, but you'd also have a very expensive piece. And we're sensitive at the bottom end of our marketplace to keep it affordable, to keep people in the performance boating marketplace.
Very good, very good. If you guys can take a look, Merc brought out their beautiful trailer. They got a huge presence here at Desert Storm. Obviously, we're very excited to have them here. They continue to support the event, and more importantly, they continue to be one of the dominating supporters of power boating itself.